This is Cashflow Ninja, episode 56 with Pat Hiban.
Welcome to the Cashflow Ninja, the podcast empowering and inspiring people to discover how to generate their own income and manage, grow, and protect their own wealth in the new economy. Now, here is your host, MC Laubscher.
Hello everyone, MC Laubscher here and welcome to another episode of the Cashflow Ninja. I have a great show for you today with a very inspirational guest. As a listener of the show, you know my philosophy of creating multiple income streams and creating multiple income streams across asset classes will not only provide the financial freedom that you're after, but will also be the only security that you will have in the new economy and information age. My guest today has 57 streams of income that he refers to as horizontal income streams, and he's truly a cash flow ninja, Pat Hiban. After obtaining his real estate license in late 1987, Pat sold 10 homes in his first year, making $13,700 in commissions. His third year in business, Pat took the Floyd Wickman Sweat Hog course, and he learned that being a listing agent was the way to go. At this point in his career, he left his position at Grempler Realty and started at Long & Foster Realty. After making the switch and prospecting regularly, calling up and down the streets looking for future sellers, Pat was able to triple his income. The sky was the limit from there. After switching to RE/MAX in year 5 of his career, Pat spent 15 years working for them. In 2004, Pat became the #1 RE/MAX real estate agent in the world. In 2005, he left RE/MAX to open the Pat Hiban Real Estate Group, which was an independent company until 2006 when he joined Keller Williams. In that same year, Pat earned the award for the #1 real estate agent in the world with Keller Williams. In 2010, he sold his team and business to his longtime partner, Mike Sloan, and went on a book tour to promote his book, 6 Steps to 7 Figures. A real estate professional's guide to building wealth and creating your destiny. With the help and an introduction written personally by Gary Keller, the book went on to sell over 20,000 copies and hit number 6 on the New York Times bestseller list. In 2014, Pat launched his podcast, Pat Hiban Interviews Real Estate Rock Stars, which has had over 1 million unique downloads. He currently owns and operates Rebus University, an online training platform for salespeople and entrepreneurs. Please share your feedback and thoughts on today's interview, and let me know your thoughts on Twitter at MC Laubscher or by email info@cashflowninja.com. And please remember to join our mailing list by signing up at cashflowninja.com or texting Cashflow Ninja, one word, all capitalized, to 44222. That's 2 4s and 3 2s. As some of my listeners may know, I live in Newtown, Pennsylvania, a town that is about 45 minutes away from Philadelphia, the birthplace of the United States, the home of the cheesesteak, the Rocky Steps, and also the hometown of the beloved founding father, Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin believed an investment in knowledge pays the best interest, and early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. The Cashflow Ninja have aligned itself with partners that aims to empower you to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. Our healthy partner on it provides supplements, nutrient-dense and earth-grown foods, and fitness equipment to help you achieve your next level of well-being and total human optimization. Our listeners can get a 10% discount with coupon code GETONIT at cashflowninjahealth.com. Our wealthy partner, Fundrise, gives everyone the opportunity to invest directly in high-quality real estate without the middleman. Fundrise makes the process of investing in the highest quality commercial real estate from around the country simple, efficient, and transparent. You can get started with as little as $1,000 and do not have to be an accredited investor to participate in some of their offerings. You can check them out at cashflowninjawealth.com. Our wise partner Audible offers a free audiobook download of any book when you try Audible for 30 days. You can download your free audiobook download at cashflowninjabook.com.
Hey, this is John Lee Dumas from Entrepreneur on Fire, and you're listening to the Cashflow Ninja podcast with your host, MC Laubscher. You must be prepared to ignite.
Pat, welcome to the show.
Thanks, MC. Good to be here.
You know, thank you so much for doing this interview. The storm and hurricane has left Pat without any power and electricity, and he's actually doing this from his car. So I really appreciate your commitment and coming on the show. It's fantastic. Now, Pat, can you share a little bit about your background and your journey as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I'd love to. So I'm 51 years old, and I think I started as an entrepreneur probably when I was about 20 is when I kind of got the bug. It's my last paying job of time for money, like an hourly wage, was at about 20 years old, 21 years old. A little bit after college, I did some substitute teaching, but that was it. And then from there, I became a real estate agent, started making commissions. From there, I started investing in properties. From there, I started investing in bigger properties. From there, I started investing in small companies. And currently, I have 57 lines of horizontal income, what I call them, which are instead of growing money vertically, you know, like with a job where you make a 5% or a 3% raise vertically every year. Horizontal is one thing at a time paying you sideways. So I have 57 items that pay me sideways, not every single month. Some are consistent, like rental properties every month, and some are companies that maybe not pay me at all or maybe pay me every 2 years, but they're all coming sideways without me trading time for money, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's amazing. 57. That's very, very inspirational. Now, you've had a very successful career, obviously, as a real estate agent and also as a cash flow investor with these 57 streams of income. When did you start to become an investor, and when was that first deal?
Wow. You know, it's funny. My first real deal was, I think I was like 23, and I bought a property that I moved into, and then I rented a room to a friend of mine, and then I rented out the basement. Basement had like a little apartment in it, and I rented that out to two girls. So that was the first real deal I did, I guess. And then from there, I did another one right around the corner from that. And so that was that. That was how I got started.
And then you invested in real estate and grew, obviously, your real estate investment portfolio. At what stage did you start to look into other investments and other streams? And what was the process like? Because obviously there's an education part of that before jumping into that.
You know, it's funny because I think a lot of times, and this is kind of philosophical, but we don't actually take drastic changes until we're sick of the way we do it. Let's take losing weight. Most people aren't going to take massive action and lose a lot of weight until they're absolutely sick and tired of being overweight. Or same thing with, say, alcohol or drug abuse, right? They say you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and then you become sober, or whatever the case may be. And I think that's kind of what happened with me. I was a real estate guy through and through, and that's what I knew, and that's what I believed in. And so when the market crashed in 2007, I felt a lot of pain. I felt we had my company had an 8,400 square foot rental property that we were renting for a real estate company, and it was full. And as we began to lay people off, I laid off 22 people in 1 year. As we began to lay people off, and agents started to exodus because of the market, we were only using about 1,500 square feet. And I was really sick about that. To fill up the space with other tenants, we were getting about a 30% rent on what we could normally get. Meaning, if I was renting for $20 a square foot, and paying $20 a square foot, I was renting it for about $7 or $8 a square foot to a subtenant. And lo and behold, a friend of mine that I'd known for a long time, Mark Schwager, was in the payroll processing business. And he said to me, you're always bitching and complaining now about real estate, how you want to get out. You got to find something new. And I didn't do that to everybody. I only did it to my close friends and family. And he heard me venting, and he said, I've been wanting to go out on my own for a while. I've been a salesman for 15 years. He was a top salesman at his company. And he said, I want to take my book and run. And I was like, okay. He says, the problem is I don't have any money. I was like, okay, well, let me give you some money. So I gave him $200,000, and he started his own company. And now he's in every state in the nation, and he processes, hundreds of thousands of paychecks every month. And he his company is going gangbusters. And so I lucked out. If you read The Alchemist, it talks about beginner's luck. And so I hit that beginner's luck with my investing in other things outside of real estate, which was your question. Since then, I've invested in 15 others. I haven't had as much beginner's luck with those other 15, to be honest with you. Not that they suck, but some are average and some are good equity plays. But anyways, to answer your question, that's what happened. I got sick of real estate, and I said, let me do something else. He happened to be there. We went forward. We started this payroll processing company called Infinity HR.
Now, when you invest in additional income streams, or you're considering opportunities or looking at investments, do you have a checklist or a criteria that you run it through quickly to analyze it?
Yeah, that's a great question. At first, obviously, I went with Mark because I knew Mark, and he was like family to me. So I trusted him. I knew he was a hard worker. I knew he had what it took, so to speak. It was just an intuitive thing. So I was just investing in the people. I tried my hand at the marijuana industry about 2.5 years ago, and that wasn't investing in the people. That was investing in, the upswing. Is this going to take off? Are there going to be as many weed dispensaries someday as there are liquor stores or pharmacies today? I said, let me invest in this forward motion. Now, to be quite candid with you, of those 4 that I invested in 2.5 years ago, 1 has already failed, and 2 have burnt so much money that they're raising more money now. So maybe I was too early on that. I don't know. Or maybe the hype was too big on that. Or maybe I just got unlucky 4 times.
Right.
I don't know, but I'm still trying to answer your question. So those, I bet on the come. I kind of like a come bet in craps. I bet on what was coming down the road, and I said, marijuana industry, let me put money in it. So far, it hasn't paid off financially, but I don't think that we can really make judgments, can we, on what works and what doesn't until we're about 90 years old and we're sitting on the front porch of a mobile home looking back, giving advice to like a 10-year-old about the best deal I ever did or the smartest thing I ever did. I don't think you could say that at any time in your life until you're really, really old, because I don't know, maybe one of these deals will turn around and then it'll pay me, $1 million a year cash flow. So it's not over till it's over, right? It's not over till they declare bankruptcy. So we'll see.
And I mean, there's so many variables, to use that example. There's a lot of variables involved with investing in the trend, because there's legislation that needs to be passed, et cetera, et cetera. So, I look at some of the Bitcoin opportunities that's out there too, and it's similar in a way that that's where the trend's going, but also, do you get the timing right? Because there's such an educational piece that has to occur to the general public. And the trust, right, of this,
and the trust too, yeah, 100%. Bitcoin. Yeah, I looked into some Bitcoin. A guy I know real well started a Bitcoin company, and at the beginning there was a lot of hype and a lot of excitement behind it, and now it's kind of I don't know if the excitement's gone or. And this is what I think is happening with marijuana, to be honest with you, with the cash flow opportunities, is there's become so much ingenuity and so many new companies that compete with raising money. When 2.5 years ago, a lot of these companies were out there saying our minimum investment is $250,000, and now the same companies are saying minimum investment is $25,000. So that kind of tells me that either the novelty is worn off, things like Bitcoin and marijuana, or the competition. There's so much competition as other ways to invest in it, or what Shark Tank and the profit has done to America is it's created this belief structure that anybody can be an entrepreneur and anybody can make it, and look how fun and easy it is. And you have all these people going out and raising money for all these different companies, where 20 years ago, that wasn't such the case. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, it definitely, I think with especially Bitcoin, there's an educational time lapse. And it's like, okay, the technology's out there. Most of the people don't really know about it. Bitcoin. Oh, I've heard about it. Is some of the responses that I'm getting. And then the trust factor, too, because once people start to lose all trust in existing systems, then maybe they'll flock more towards something like this, but it's foreign, it's new. It's like the internet back in 1994. I think, how long did it take me to get my first email address? But as far as your point about the excitement about entrepreneurship, I think that there's a lot of stuff out there that people get this illusion of selfies on boats saying, oh, this is great. It looks pretty easy. John did it, Meanwhile, they don't know that John or Tom or Harry, the hours of sweat and just overall what happens behind the scenes, because the work that goes into it, will it work, will it not work, do we have something here, just the whole process of a person getting to that. I don't think that's really captured and displayed in public on shows like the Shark Tank, for instance.
Yeah, I love that. I'm going to use that. Selfies on boats. That says it all, right? Selfies on boats.
I'm an entrepreneur. Look at me. I'm on a boat with a selfie. It's like, yeah, it doesn't quite happen like that.
Yeah, I had Robert Kiyosaki on my podcast, and I put on Facebook, I said, what questions do you want me to ask him? And the majority of the questions were about his cash flow quadrant, and they had to do with how do I get from an E, an employee, to an S, self-employed, or how do I get from an S to a B, right? From a self-employed to a business owner. How to cross the lines. And, his answer, which was kind of shocking, was don't. He said it takes a lot of work. It's like a drug addict, weaning from heroin by himself, cold turkey in a bedroom by himself. It's that's the sort of transformation, the sort of pain, the sort of changing from a cocoon to a butterfly. And you use that as an example. You see the butterfly, but you don't realize that when a caterpillar comes out of a cocoon, it is extremely painful on their nerves, like their pain centers. They go through a lot of pain internally, if you can visualize what it's like being a caterpillar, before they're allowed to be a butterfly. And so he said that's what it is. And he said if you can't take that pain of that transformation, that drug withdrawal that a drug addict would have to go through to go cold turkey by himself, if you can't take that, then stay an E.
Right.
Stay an S, which is fascinating advice. Fascinating.
Yeah, I heard. I follow Gary Vee a lot too, and he just mentioned something like that the other day too, where he said everybody wants to go out and be a Mark Zuckerberg. He's got all these young guys, and when he's on the road, that's all the questions that he gets. They want the next Facebook, or they want to do that. He's like, but like to your point, that's not for everybody. He goes, What if you could have been number 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or the first 15 or 20 people on Facebook, that you're still part of a team, you still have that spirit of being part of something that's growing that team, but you're not the one that you said that went through the pain and the self-doubt and, all the things.
Self-doubt.
Yeah, exactly.
The self-doubt is huge. I mean, I know there were tons of people that started at Facebook that bailed, that didn't believe in it. When they didn't have investor money, when they didn't, when things were happening too slow. I know myself, me and 5 other guys bought some Facebook stock from an employee that left. So get this, there's a way on the internet you can do this, a back market kind of. So we bought an employee's stock that left the company before it was public, and when we bought it, we were all like, "Oh man, this thing's going to go great! We're going to be, it's going to be worth $1 billion." Da 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 da. Lo and behold, it came out, and I don't know if you remember, but when Facebook stock went public, it plummeted.
Right.
And right out the gate, and we weren't allowed to sell for 6 months because we were inside investors. So after 6 months, it was worth I think it was about 35% less than we actually paid from this employee. And I took a poll of I think there was 5 of us. What do you guys want to do? Everybody says, get out. Take the loss. It's going to keep going down. Well, we got out, right? And lo and behold, now it's worth 6 times what we paid from the employee. But we were so short-sighted, you know what I mean? At 6 months and 1 day, we were like, sell. And think of all that, and that's just me personally with a little bit of money. Think about all the employees for all those years before they went public that just were like, it's not worth it. I got a better job over here paying me $1,000 more a year or whatever. You have to have the faith, to last for a long time. And I don't know if a lot of people have that, the belief in themselves and their belief that it's going to actually work, and someday all this work is going to pay off.
The self-doubt, and then the other people doubting you. I'm thinking of an example like Uber. I mean, there is a list of people that passed on that investment opportunity and just said, this is never going to work. So you, as that entrepreneur raising capital at that stage, I mean, just think what that does to you and who you have to be in that process, and the self-belief and the self-doubt and everything that happens to that person in that moment, coming out in the other end. Now, obviously, you look back and say, wow, what a success, and how many countries is Uber, and it's going to change this and change that. But a lot of people told them that's never going to work.
Yeah. Well, the reality of it is you don't know. You could look at someone that passed on Uber and be like, what an idiot, right? But in the reality, you don't. I think that those guys, someone who says, hey, I'm an investor in Facebook or Uber from early on, I think there's 99 other ones that they invested in that are broke now.
Right.
It's the same thing with these weed companies. It's like at the time, man, the tension and the excitement, it was so thick. It was like, this is going to change the world. This is great. How could this fail? And lo and behold, here it is, and there's, things that are popping up, and all of a sudden the money's gone. It's like, hey, we're not selling enough to pay the bills. We got to lay off some employees, and you just don't know until way ahead. You just don't know. And I think the key is the advice for your people investing in cash flow is, don't go full out and invest all your savings in one company. Some of these companies I'm in for only like $25,000. You know what I mean? Like some of them I'm in for a couple hundred. Some of them I'm in for 25 just because I'm like, I'm not sure I like you guys. But God only knows, how about I just give you 25,000? And so, I think that's kind of how you almost have to be like a mutual fund, with these investments. It's not like real estate. Real estate, I could buy 10 houses and, there's going to be some with hiccups or some that, have some vacancy, but it's a much more steady investment. If a house burns down, insurance is going to pay for a new house. If a company burns down, you have no insurance to pay for a new company. You've lost everything. And one of these weed companies, I'm out my entire investment because it's over. It's done. It's zip,
right,
shot, right, just like that.
Money heaven.
Boom. It didn't work.
Yep. It died and went to money heaven. Now, Pat, also what I like about this too is, my philosophy too is the only security that you're going to have is your income streams. And I love that approach where you have to diversify your income streams and the amount that you have. That's going to be security and certainty moving forward in this new economy and information age that we're in. Now, what are you seeing out there as far as economic cycles? Are you changing your approach to investments right now? Are you still out buying, for instance, real estate and investing in companies? Or are you focusing on building a cash position like some investors to purchase at a different time?
That's a great question. The answer is both, but a couple of things. First of all, I refer to like my these companies that I buy, these private companies, as come bets. Because if you play craps, a come bet is you're betting on what the next roll is after the first roll, after the roll that everybody's betting on around the table. And so I've decided not to buy any more of these, because I believe that there's so much ingenuity out there, and it's just all these things are coming at me from all directions, and I'm like, I don't know which of these are going to work or not. I'm going to just say no to them all. So in that aspect, I've stopped betting on the come. I have stopped deploying money into things that may happen, people, companies, okay? I recently moved to South Carolina. Made this my primary residence. I bought my house here cash, so I don't have a mortgage on it. And that was a strategy, of a conservative strategy. I recently deployed some money, not a lot, but a lot of my retirement money into gold and silver, just the, GLD and SLV. I don't have a safe. I don't want a safe. Right, I don't want to have a gun and a safe and worry about this stuff. I like to travel. I like to go away for 2-3 weeks at a time. So I don't believe. Not that I don't believe. I don't want to store real gold and silver. I just buy it through my retirement. And so I've started to do some of that where before I didn't do that. And part of my goals was to to get my South Carolina real estate license and buy a bunch of rental properties here in South Carolina. But after I talked to a lot of people down here, just common folk, someone I met in a coffee shop, and they're like, yeah, I paid, $180 for my house 2 years ago, and now it's worth $250. I've done this. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to do that. So I made a conscious decision not to get my real estate license and not to buy anything here in South Carolina. Nothing against South Carolina, but I'm not buying anything in Maryland either. I've stopped buying real estate, like single families, little onesie twosies. I have a company called DAPT Investments with several partners where we buy apartment buildings. And we had 8 apartment buildings. We sold 4 of them last year, in the last, say, 18 months. And then we bought 2, sold 4, bought 2, and this year we have bought 1. So we'll finish this year with only 1 buy. And we feel good about this buy simply because it's in the path of growth. There's a new government facility being built right near it. And we feel good about it being a recession-proof investment, meaning that because of this government facility being built near it, that even if the market does tank, this property will be safe. So that is my exact answer to what exactly I'm doing, rather than giving you a cliche.
Right. No, I appreciate that. Now, you're part of a lot of exciting stuff too, and projects. Can you tell me a little bit about Rebus University and the value you create for sales professionals and entrepreneurs through Rebus University?
Yeah, so what happened was, I sold my real estate team in 2010 to my partner, Mike Sloan, who's been with me a long time. And then I wrote my book, 6 Steps to 7 Figures. I went out on book tour. I came back from book tour, and that business ran through Mike, and he didn't need me anymore. I still get profits from it. But for several years, all I did was I was just an investor. And about 2 years ago, I started my podcast, Pat Hiban Interviews Real Estate Rock Stars, and I started interviewing real estate agents on their best practices. And after a year or two on that, I said, I've got all these listeners. I need to monetize this. What is something fun and passionate that I could do and make money from this podcast? And so I created Rebus University. And what Rebus University is it's an online learning platform, because I'm ADD and I never enjoyed sitting in the back of a hot class all day listening to some instructor drone out in a lecture type manner, who's probably never walked his talk, is teaching us about real estate or investments, and he's broke and doesn't own any real estate. So I created a class called Certified Listing Agent, where I had 8 of the world's top agents. One is Rachel Adams, who you mentioned earlier before we started recording, a top agent in Sacramento, California. And I had Rachel do her listing appointment with me as the seller. And then I asked questions about what specifically she did, secret things that only sellers get to hear. And I had 7 other agents do it. I recorded it. We created a 10-hour course. But the key, MC, is this. It's a 10-hour course, but you don't sit there for 10 hours. It's 10 minutes at a time. So you watch 10 minutes, and then you take a test to make sure you're paying attention, and you got to get an 80% better on a test. And then tomorrow you could watch 10 more minutes if you want. 10 minutes, 10 minutes. So it's a lot more fun, and it's a lot more engaging than a classroom study. And so what I want to do with it now is I want to create courses for a mortgage officer, say the top mortgage officer, how to go from 0 to hero as a mortgage officer in a year. Maybe insurance brokers, how to go from 0 to hero as an insurance broker in a year. Maybe wealth management or stockbrokers, or people like yourself that want to go from 0 to hero in a year. They can go on Rebus and they can learn how to do this from the top person in that industry, or one of the top persons in that industry, in a manner that's not going to put them to sleep. 10 minutes here, half an hour here, with quizzes, right, straight from the horse's mouth, answering direct questions, just like I answered your question about what am I doing, rather than giving you a cliche. These video courses are exact specifics on what they did and how you can do it too.
Fantastic. Now, Pat, a core message in our show is to leave our families, communities, and the world better than we found it by passing down a mindset, values, and principles to future generations, not just money. If you cannot pass on any money to future generations, and we're only allowed to pass on 3 principles to them to build wealth and achieve happiness and success, what would they be?
So that's a very, very fascinating question, and I'll tell you why. Because building wealth and happiness and living your passion don't necessarily always coexist, at least in the beginning. So, I think if you had asked me at 22 years old, what would my passion be if money weren't in the equation, it would be, being an elementary school gym coach or something, right? Or
right,
teaching kids, or camp counselor, right?
Right.
That would be more passionate to me. But the problem is, as a camp counselor, I'm only going to get $15,000 a year, and I wanted to be rich. And I think everybody wants to be rich, or a lot of people want to be rich. So it doesn't coexist, or it's very hard. I don't want to say that because I'm going to get people say, oh, of course it can, And of course it can. Yes, it can. But it's more difficult. The reality of it is, or at least how I see the reality of it is you have to get out there and hustle. You have to get out there and work. You have to get like a job as an insurance broker and get out there and beat the street and sell insurance, right? Or mortgages or whatever it is, and make enough commissions to save and then take that savings and invest. And sometimes that may not be your passion. You can make it fun, and people may be your passion, sales may be your passion. But I never said to myself, I love selling real estate. I love fireplaces. I love garages. I love architecture. I was never into that. My passion was making money, sales, building a team, things like that. Excited me more than like the real estate or the selling of the real estate. So, but what I did is I earned the commissions, saved the commissions, invested the commissions, and now I feel like now I'm living more of a passionate lifestyle where I'm just doing something that's fun. Whether Rebus makes it or not, whether my podcast makes it or not, it's just a hell of a lot of fun, and I'm meeting a lot of cool people, and it's much more of a passion than much more of a natural passion now that I have 57 lines of income paying me, if that makes sense. So sometimes I think you have to go through the process. Gary Keller talks about this in his book, The One Thing. He says sometimes you got to go through the process of creating financial freedom before you can live your passion. You got to jump through a lot of hoops, and then you can live your passion because you have the money. Does that make sense? It might not come. It might not come from day one. I think there's a problem with that. People graduate from college and they're like, yeah, my first day I'm going to go out and be an entrepreneur. I'm going to do something I love, and I'm going to become rich. It's very difficult to do that, I think.
Yeah. No, that's a great book, too, The One Thing, by Gary Keller. A lot of guests have recommended that. Pat, how can my audience learn more about you and your companies and all the projects that you're involved with, your podcast, and also please share where my listeners can access your book?
Absolutely. So the easiest way to find me, okay, is to just go to pathiban.com. If you go to pathiban.com, it has all the companies I'm involved with. If you type in my name on Google or you type in my name on Facebook, LinkedIn, I'm on all those too. I'm very, very, very easy to find. You just go there. The book is called 6 Steps to 7 Figures. It can be bought on Amazon. The podcast is Pat Hiban Interviews Real Estate Rockstars. And Rebus is rebusuniversity.com. And it's all on pathiban.com. So that's the easiest way to find anything we talked about today.
Awesome, Pat. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your knowledge and your journey and providing so much value for my listeners. I had a fantastic experience, and it was a blast.
You got it, MC. Good to meet you, and look forward to meeting you face-to-face someday.
Same here. Thanks, Pat. Thank you for joining me and my guest, Pat Hiban, on the Cashflow Ninja podcast today. If you like what you hear and appreciate what we're trying to build here at Cashflow Ninja, please subscribe, rate, and review our show on iTunes and share our show with friends, family, and your network. I really have been humbled by your support and feedback. If there's any way that I can provide more value to you and serve you better, please reach out to me at info@cashflowninja.com. Don't forget to take advantage of the offers from our partners that aims to empower you to be healthy, wealthy, and wise. Our healthy partner Onnit provides supplements, nutrient-dense and earth-grown foods, and fitness equipment to help you achieve your next level of well-being and total human optimization. Our listeners can get a 10% discount with coupon code GETONIT at cashflowninjahealth.com. Our wealthy partner Fundrise gives everyone the opportunity to invest directly in high-quality real estate without the middleman. Fundrise makes the process of investing in the highest quality commercial real estate from around the country simple, efficient, and transparent. You can get started with as little as $1,000 and do not have to be an accredited investor to participate in some of their offerings. You can check them out at cashflowninjawealth.com. Our wise partner Audible offers a free audiobook download of any audiobook when you try Audible for 30 days at cashflowninjabook.com. If you're looking for some book recommendations, I put them all together for you at cashflowninja.com/books. That's our show for today, everyone. Until next time, live a life of passion and purpose on your terms.
You have been listening to the Cashflow Ninja with your host, MC Laubscher, the podcast empowering and inspiring people to discover how to generate their own income and manage, grow, and protect their own wealth in the new economy. Today's show notes and resources are available on our website, cashflowninja.com. This presentation is for educational and informational purposes only. The information being presented and considered does not consider your particular financial objectives or situation, and it does not make personalized recommendations. This material is not intended to replace the advice of a qualified tax and legal advisor or other qualified professionals, and you should not use the information in place of a customized consultation with a licensed professional regarding your specific personal financial objective, situation, and needs. We believe the information provided is reliable, but we do not guarantee its accuracy, timeliness, or completeness.